What is up, lads? It's CM9 here. So, this is your match review for Borussia Moenchengladbach versus Chelsea. It ends 2-2. Final game of pre-season before next week's game against Man United in the opening game of the Premier League. So, we had to come from 2-0 down in the second half to score 2 penalties to level the score. The first penalty coming from Tammy Abraham, and then the second goal coming from a guy that came on as a substitute, Ross Barkley. Now, when I look at that game, I feel a little bit concerned going into next week. Now, the most concerning thing about that game was our defence. Now, if you remember in the videos that I did on the Reading game and the Salzburg game, I said quite clearly, after we had conceded 3 goals in both those games, our defending needs to improve. Lampard needs to go away and solve our zonal marking issues, our space prevention issues, and our ability to handle pressure. I think those claims fell on deaf ears because we were absolutely abysmal in the first half. That first half against Gladbach was, well, I don't even know where to even begin. What was our back line in that first half? We had Emerson at left back, we had Zuma, Christensen, and Azpilicueta, and Kepa in goal. It was, well, I got to be honest, the goals that Gladbach scored in that first half was some of the worst defending I've pretty much seen in pre-season so far. The inability to read the line when someone plays the ball in to try and go in on goal. I don't know who was actually playing him on. I'm talking about the second goal, by the way. First goal was terrible. It was like defending was non-existent. Cut open like a knife through butter. The second goal, though, I don't know who was trying to read the guy when the ball was played to him, and then he went in the penalty box to try and roll the ball into the net. I think it was either Azpilicueta or Christensen. It was one of those two, but it just goes to show you that it's not good enough. That first half overall, Gladbach literally came out of the blocks. We just did not know how to contain them at times. There were times where they actually took shots and, they were given so much space by the defence. It was ridiculous at times. I don't know if this group of players know what it means to have solidarity. Now, let's just look at some of the players. Kurt Zouma. Now, he was on loan at Everton last season. He's got a bit of experience playing for Chelsea before he went out on loan. So you would expect somebody like him to show some balls, show some actual gut, to go out there and show exactly how good you are as a defender. He was poor. He was really, really poor. Christensen was probably the better defender out of all of them that participated, but that's not saying very much. I think it's not just one responsibility for a defender, it's an entire backline as a unit. You all have to work together to prevent a ball from either going into the box or preventing somebody from shooting from long range. You've got to make sure that you know how to work as a unit, know how to handle pressure, know what it means to try and stop any balls from going into the box. I don't think either of these players know how to handle pressure. And, well, it was all about Borussia Moenchengladbach in that first half. I don't think we got going at all. We did have chances. We did have Pulisic taking chances. Mount taking chances. I think he had a few. Abraham, I think, needed to be involved a bit more. Pedro had some chances, but he sort of had those got wayward. Jorginho and Kovacic were not great. Look, it's okay having 2 creative players, 3 to be exact. We had Jorginho and Kovacic in the middle, with Mount playing a little bit in front of them. But when you've got nobody back, there's literally nobody there to sort of protect the back four. You've got, I don't know, Moenchengladbach, with so much space in the middle to just run the ball forward. And because the line of defence is playing a bad game and they are not doing well to handle pressure, you're going to leak goals. That's just it. That's what the first half was all about. The second half, I think we played a lot better. Our attack, our intensity, our distribution of the ball was better. And we did have better chances in the second half, I think. We had Mount taking chances. We had Abraham, I think, had a few. Everyone was getting into the box. I think Pulisic had a few chances as well. it was all about their goalkeeper. Their goalkeeper kept them in the game. He kept them 2-0 up, to be honest. But like I said, we had to rely on 2 penalties to level the score. Now, the first penalty was debatable. I thought Kovacic went down in the box, and I don't think anybody challenged him at all. I think there was no contact when he went down. So, thank God VAR doesn't apply to pre-season games. But, look, I'll take it. If it means it's a penalty and the referee's made some kind of rash decision, 50-50 chance. If it's a penalty, that it's a penalty, and Abraham is able to convert the penalty. On a bad day, we would have had it where their goalkeeper was having so much of a blinder that even our penalties weren't going in. But no, I'll take that first penalty, even if Kovacic didn't go down with a bit of contact. The second penalty, though, definitely, because Mount was definitely brought down by a challenge that was reckless, and yeah, of course that was definitely going to be a penalty, and Ross Barkley converted it. And speaking of Ross Barkley, by the way, I'm not going to forget that awful miss that he made in that second half when he had the ball played into him. I think it was either a mistake or the ball got played into him. He had plenty of time to think about the situation he was in. All he had to do was place it in the bottom corner, and he completely missed it. So yeah, I'm not going to forget that miss. I'm not going to let that slide. Yes, Barkley has had a fantastic pre-season. Yes, Barkley has been making some great passes. Yes, Barkley has improved as a midfielder, but if you're not going to be taking chances like that, that's unforgivable. Just think about if we were 2-0 down against a team like United or City and we needed him to score a goal like that and he misses it. He would have got a lot of backlash for that. But I digress. 2-2. Now, going into this next game against United next week, first game, and then we've got that next game in the Super Cup final against Liverpool. Defending must improve. I can't stress that enough. Let's put it this way. Our attack was promising, but if we've got a leaky defence and we're going to be conceding loads of goals, we are going to have a very long season. I said right at the beginning of pre-season, I said, this is the building process. Consider this season as a way of understanding that we need to blend youth with experience. We have a transfer ban, right? We have to rely on these players. We don't have any other choice. We can either rely on our youth to step up their game, or I don't know. Like the more competition that we have in our team, right, is going to push players to improve themselves. If we don't have this much competition, we're going to end up in a situation where we have a very set number of players. We're not going to have very much squad depth, and then we're going to go into the season with very lackluster options, and we're going to have a situation where our defense isn't doing enough, just like we had in this game. And well, you tell me the situation, because I'm not really sold on this defense. Unless these group of players steps it up. Like I said, we're going to have a very, very long season. We're going to have it where there's not very much. Well, we do have the options. It's just these guys need to step it up. We need more competition. These guys need to compete more. That's just it. It's all well and good having so many chances in a game. The fact is, we've got these chances and we're not clinical. That's the word I was looking for. Clinical. We need to be more clinical in front of goal. Their goalkeeper in the second half pretty much kept it at 2-0. If we are going to turn games around, we need to be more clinical. And players like Abraham, players like Pulisic, players like Mount need to be on the ball a bit more. And of course our defending. Let's not forget our defending. Defending is the other side of the coin where, you know, if we're going to keep leaking goals over and over again, it's going to be a long season. It's going to be a very long season. Players like Zuma were really, really below par today. I was expecting more from him. Alonso in the second half was poor. Just like he has been in previous games. He really hasn't been good enough recently. Azpilicueta was average. I think these kind of players were treating the final game of pre-season like the first game of pre-season, which is a little bit worrying. Christensen was our better defender today, but that's not really saying much because the defence needs to work more as a unit rather than relying on one person to do the job, if you know what I mean. So going into this season, there are 2 players that we really need to bring back into the side from injury. Antonio Rudiger, because I think he's more of the stable defender at the back, and Kante. Kante needs to get back to full fitness. If we get Kante back to full fitness, and we play him right in front of the back 4 and in front, well, when he's got the vision of the central midfield. So we've got Kante sitting back, and then we have Jorginho and Kovacic just in front of him. Well, either Kovacic or Barkley, and then we have Mason Mount up front, him or Barkley, or play Kante a little bit further forward, but have Kante move back as well, track back as well. It's a very, very complicated situation at Chelsea. I really want to see our defence improve, and I also want to see our attack showing more flair, more intensity, more creativity, but also be more clinical as well. And I'll tell you what, if that next game against United, that game against United is going to give us a little bit of an idea as to what sort of team we're looking at here under Lampard, and, you know, who deserves to be playing, who deserves to not be playing. Yeah, just to summarise, attack needs to be more clinical. It's good to see, you know, players like Pulisic and Barkley, and, well, not so much Barkley because he missed, but Mount, Abraham, you know, these guys taking chances, but we need to be more clinical. And, well, our defence needs to improve. Big time. Big time. Otherwise, we're going to be leaking goals left, right and centre, and that's not what we want. But yes, let me know what you guys thought in the comment section down below, what you thought of that game. Major improvements needs to be made. Yeah, that game was a little bit worrying. So yeah, big changes need to be made. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. I know it's a little bit all over the place. I know I've been stuttering a little bit, but you know, that's just me. If that's all you get from me. What you see is what you get. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. Until the next video, I shall see you later. Head on, and peace.